Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of From Tip to Tail. This podcast is brought to you by Cuddly. Cuddly is the only dedicated crowdfunding platform built specifically for animal welfare organizations worldwide. My name is Bridget.
And I'm Sydney. Here on From Tip to Tail, we are bringing you raw, unscripted stories from animal welfare leaders. Together, we'll dive into the work that they do, the struggles they face, and the lives that are saved along the way.
Today, we're speaking to Brandon Boyd of Ruin Creek Animal Protection Society of Henderson, North Carolina. They're a group that helps animals in need find rescue placement.
They specialize in taking in animals from high-kill shelters around the city and helping them find placement in rescues and adoption agencies. So let's get started.
Hi, Brandon. How are you today?
I'm doing very well, and thank y'all so much for having me.
Oh, we're
so welcome.
Yeah, we're so honored you could be here for sure, taking the time out of your busy schedule. I know you've got just so much going on just with life and with all your projects, it sounds like. So we'll just get right into it. So how did you get into rescue?
Oh, my goodness. Well, I tell people my heart is bigger than my brain, and it's something that I can't help. It's just been a passion of mine ever since I was a child. And I guess I get it from my mother. And she is actively involved with the foundation as well. And she keeps all the books for me and does a lot of the fundraising for us. And we just have a great team that has come together to make this all possible. I tell people I'm just the founder. This thing is much bigger than I am. It has gone far past my wildest imaginations, and I am so proud of the work that we have done and of the work that we're going to continue to do. And once again, nothing is possible without a great team, our adoption coordinator, the relationships that we've made with animal shelters here locally right in Henderson, which is the Vance County Animal Shelter, and our rescue partners that we work with each and every week. We could not do it without them, and we're so grateful for their help. And once again, just like what Sid has done for us and reaching out to me, it's wonderful. And that's how you take something, that's how you take a good idea and turn it into a great action for a great cause. And that's exactly what we've done.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, and now there's not like a necessarily like one format to rescue, certainly, but yours sounds like a little bit unique. So can you tell us a little bit about how you take in animals and where they go and what your focus is there?
Sure. Well, my hometown where I was born and raised is Henderson, North Carolina, and which is Vance County. It's one of 100 counties that make up the great state of North Carolina. And we have a kill shelter here in this county. We have taken the euthanization rate all the way down from 96% to 9% in 2019. And it's taken a lot of work. It's taken a lot of blood, sweat, and a whole lot of tears from us all. But again, it's something that I'm so proud of. And once again, this is not something that I am able to do. This is not about Brandon and what Brandon has started. This is about what everybody has done together. Mm-hmm. And it's really been remarkable. It's been a great journey. And, you know, as animals are brought into the Vance County Animal Shelter, they are kept there at the county facility, which is maintained by our tax base and our tax dollars. And what Ruin Creek does is we take those animals after their hold period is up, and we basically market those animals. We advertise them to other rescues and adoption partners that we work with literally each and every day of every week. And we place these animals in other rescues and to adoption agencies. And on Friday night, we load up a big white van and they call the Ride to Freedom. And all the dogs, they hit Interstate 85 to Interstate 95. And Ricky Overby, we call him Captain Ricky. He's been with us for many, many years. He drives the van for us each and every Friday night. He knows exactly where to go. He knows how the process works. He's an expert at it. And he goes from Maryland to Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Sean Casey in Brooklyn, New York is a tremendous partner of ours, and we work so well with them, and we're so grateful for everything they do for us. We go all the way to Brooklyn, New York, and, we'll go as far as we need to save a life.
Oh, it's amazing. And you guys do a lot of, you take on a lot of medical responsibility, right? So when you pull the animal from the shelter, you're not just sending it off to a rescue. You are doing your best to, provide the medical care they need in that moment too.
That is accurate. And once again, we do all the shots, all the health certificates. And also, we really don't say no to anything, which, maybe we should, but we take anything that needs help. And, I've got a dog here at the house who was found on the side of the road, nearly starved to death. He didn't have any fur on him, just had a terrible skin condition. We took him in and I gave him a home. And, I should say he gave me a home because I think it runs a place. But again, that's just what we do. That's our mission. That's our goal. And every day is not easy. Without the tremendous support of the volunteers that we have, none of this would be possible. Without our great network of donors, nothing would be possible. And having a great relationship, a very trusting and open relationship with the local animal control officers makes it all possible for us.
That's incredible. So you're basically taking all these dogs and then it's almost like a rescue dog delivery service.
That is exactly right. That is exactly what it has become. And once again, we charge nothing for our transportation. We assume all that cost. And if you will just help us out by taking a dog or a cat, we will bring them to you. And it's a turnkey operation. When that dog gets there, they have had all their shots. Mm-hmm. They've got their health certificate. They are ready for ownership.
Gosh, that's so amazing. It's so important too, because I know Sid and I have just heard so many terrible stories of an animal who just gets overlooked. And it's so easy when there are so many animals in the shelter, and it just sits there. And maybe it's a wonderful animal, but as time goes on, especially for larger dogs, we see like depression sets in and all sorts of things can happen just from them just sitting there. And certainly as all they needed was like a little bit of publicity, get their face out there, I'm sure someone would be happy to take them in. So what a wonderful service you're doing for these animals and for all these families across the country there.
Well, thank you. And once again, we call it shelter shock, because when a dog goes into an animal shelter, it's a place like they've never been. And a dog really, they can change. They can almost shut down when they stay there in the shelter. And once again, we've got a wonderful shelter staff that we work with literally every hour of every day right here in Henderson. And they're kind, they're compassionate. They understand the process. They understand the program and what we're all trying to do. And it's so great that we're able to work hand in hand with them. That makes all the difference in the world. But just like you said, every life deserves a chance. And, sometimes just snapping a picture of a dog and putting it out there is somebody that says, you know what, I'd like to have that dog, or I know what to do with that dog. I know a place where we can go. And, this is in fact the business of saving lives. And that's what we work hard to do each and every day.
Yeah. So how do you get these animals out there, to promote them to your community? And is it just on Facebook, or are there other avenues that you use?
We use Facebook. We use Instagram. We have email blasts that go out. We use Twitter. And once again, we have grown our network just based on relationships. When you represent a dog, represent the dog accurately. When you're describing the demeanor of a cat, try to do it as accurate and as honest as you can. And those trusting relationships pay dividends, especially in the long run. Mm-hmm. And, I mentioned earlier the relationship that we have with Sean Casey, Animal Rescue there in Brooklyn, New York. And it is just a fantastic relationship that Michelle Wood, our adoption coordinator, has just taken it upon herself to build, that has just been built on a solid foundation of trust. And we couldn't make it without them. They're fantastic to work with. And everybody has a lot of fun as we're saving lives as well.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm sure you're really doing just so much for the individuals that work at the shelter too, because I mean, these people aren't, I mean, they're a kill shelter, but that's not something they relish the opportunity to do. I think people assume the worst in these shelters, that like these are like heartless individuals, and really it's like just someone performing a job, and they're doing something that they don't want to have to do. So by you stepping in, you're really giving them the opportunity to benefit their community and not have to do this really hard thing.
And that is so true. I mean, everybody's life is made better when lives are being saved. Yes, everybody has a job to do, and we respect our animal control officers as everybody should. I mean, they're performing a service for us, and we're so grateful for the services that they do provide for us each and every day. And once again, they're tough decisions that still have to be made in some cases. And, some are heartbreaking, but you have to support every decision and you have to move forward, because there's always the next life that is sitting there in need of help that needs to be saved. It's always going to be another one. You can count on it.
That's so true.
Yep.
So how have things been going for you through COVID then?
Challenging, but we have just, due to such wonderful relationships, we've maintained in, we had a week back in May where we cleared out the animal shelter for the first time ever in the Vance County Animal Shelter in Henderson, North Carolina. There were no dogs and there were no cats. The shelter was empty. And that was something we were
that's amazing.
So happy and proud of. And if you visit our Facebook page, Ruin Creek Animal Protection Society of Henderson, you can see those pictures along with our Instagram page as well. But that was such a special moment for us. But during the COVID pandemic, it's been challenging in its own ways. We've seen a fall off in donations, which, as anybody knows, we have to have donations coming in to continue this work. It's not cheap. And from 1 hour to the next, we don't know what medical case we're going to be faced with. We don't know what situation is going to be knocking on our door, literally saying, we've got something here, we need some help, and we want to help. We want to help everybody and every animal that we possibly can. So it has had its challenges, but thankfully here in North Carolina, things are really starting to loosen up. Some restrictions are being dropped. I mean, we're able to go out to restaurants again, which has been absolutely wonderful. And we're confident that as we go into the third and fourth quarter that, people are going to remember us and everything's going to kind of continue to trend back to the normal that we once knew.
Yeah, I mean, I can only imagine, especially since you're doing so much like transportation. It's not like you have like these fosters that are sitting around like, well, we'll be here when everything opens up again. It's much more real time. Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, I saw something or somebody said, they said, humans know that COVID is a pandemic, animals don't. And they were saying that to say that, the needs of animals continues. It's because we stop, it doesn't mean that the problems go away. And a lot of times they increase.
So true. And so I was curious because you're saying that, so you partner with so many rescues, you partner with so many shelters. How large is your organization, like as a whole?
As a whole, we have 2 people that are on payroll and the rest is simply volunteer driven. We have saved, since we have been founded, around 25,000 dogs and cats.
Oh my gosh.
Last year, our number was just under 2,000, and we're so proud of that. And once again, this is not anything that I have done or I can take any credit for. I am a very, very small fragment of this equation. And, it's the credit is due to the volunteers. The credit is due to our donors that make it all possible. The credit is due to our wonderful adoption coordinator, Michelle Woods. The credit is due to the shelter staff that we work with each and every day right here in Vance County. And it takes everybody and their willingness to say, we're going to give it our best no matter what it requires us to do. And we're going to save as many lives as we can. And we have got that shared commitment right now. And it is absolutely amazing what you can get done when you have that.
Oh, I love that. It's just like all the right priorities. The mission is the animals,
Exactly.
Human connection, collaboration, all that stuff.
Exactly. And to anybody out there that's doing this, I encourage you, don't stop. When you listen to me, you've got to understand this is almost, 9 years in the making that it's taken us to get to this point. It's been some rocky roads with people, with personalities, with opinions. Mm-hmm. And you just have to hold true to your conviction, believe that what you're doing, is right to you and to the animals, and you have to move forward. And you can't get hung up based on what somebody says or thinks. You do what you feel is right for the animal. When people become the priority, that's when we have trouble. Mm-hmm. When animals become the priority, that's when everything runs so smooth. Keep animals your main priority. That's what we do. That's what this is all about. It's not about us.
Absolutely. And I mean, I feel like your idea is so simple in a way, but it's almost one of those ideas that's so simple, it's genius. I mean,
well, right? I can tell you right now, genius, that is, I probably can't even spell genius, much less know what one is. But, it's a system that works, and it's not very complicated. It's not very, we know what we're going to do. There's a saying that we all share and we joke about. On Friday night, we celebrate. On Saturday morning, we get back to work, because that's when it all starts all over again for the next week. And, you just got to keep on keeping on. And that's exactly what we do. And, and you also got to remember, you got to have fun. The day this becomes work, that's the day that it needs to stop.
Right. There has to be passion.
You've got to have passion driving it and fun as the core, because for every tear that's been shed, we've shared 5 laughs on top of that. And, there are going to be those tears. There are going to be those bad days. There are going to be situations where it's like, I don't know if I did right or wrong. But as I said earlier, you have to move forward. You cannot get hung up on one situation. You can't get hung up on one person or one animal. The work is going to continue. And you have to move on and just keep pressing forward.
I mean, that's so inspiring, because I know that just from some of us, watching from afar, we look at one animal or 5, and I mean, we feel emotional fatigue just looking at those. So it's really extraordinary to be able to talk with people like you who are working with just so many more animals, and you wonder how you don't get burned out, and you wonder how you have this drive. But that formula sounds like it makes so much sense. It's focus on the mission, smile more than you laugh, more than you cry, and I mean, have the passion driving it all. That's
You're right. Yeah. It is so basic, but I feel like so many rescues kind of overlook, and they tend to make things maybe a little more complicated than it really needs to be. When all you really need is, you need love, you need passion, you need drive, and you need friendships to get you through it.
And that's exactly right. And that's just like you guys and Sid, who has been such a tremendous asset to us over the past 6 months since her and I connected and met. I mean, once again, everything y'all do for us, it's appreciated so much. And when y'all send us stuff, in our volunteers and our adoption coordinator sees what y'all are doing, it motivates people. It motivates people to think, you know what, I'm not in this alone. Somebody out there is I help these animals, somebody is helping me help the animals. And it's contagious. Excitement is contagious, and it's the relationships that are made along the way that make it all possible.
Yeah, you guys are the ones that are sowing the seeds, and we love, again, what we're helping you get, with fundraising and things like that. And this is true with all of our animal rescues. We're just giving you something super basic, right? But you're the one sowing the seeds and making these creative endeavors out of it and doing all this amazing work. It's I think maybe donors think like if they donate like $5, they're like, well, like it's just $5, but it's like what someone with your like imagination and ability can do with that money, like that's a really extraordinary thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I feel like the rescues I've worked with in the past too, it's like they do more with the money coming in than I could have ever imagined.
Right.
I mean,
and you can imagine.
I mean, you have to squeeze every dime out of every dollar. Also, you can't be stingy either. And forgive me just for using such a basic and simple word, but when you get stingy, you end up cheating your own self.
Mm-hmm.
When there's a need, you have to act. And you have to act on faith that it's all going to come back around and you're going to be made whole again. And I will tell you this right now, not one time have we ever said, okay, we're going to do this. We're going to swallow this $3,500 vet bill. We didn't count on it, but we're going to swallow it. I will promise you this, something is going to break loose or come through on the other side that you didn't expect. You know, people call them blessings, and that is all that it is. The more you give, the more you get.
So true. Yeah, no, don't be stingy. I love that. And I mean, and make the most of what you do get. That's so wise. I mean, and so you were saying that how you have to kind of step back from a lot of these cases, and you have to like kind of focus on the mission and you can't get too caught up. But certainly, I mean, that has to be hard in this industry. Is there one pet that's really like maybe stuck with you? Even not a sad story.
Oh my goodness.
It doesn't need to be a sad story.
Well, I mean, I've got one in my kitchen right now in a crate. And you guys have just started a campaign on her.
Oh,
and
sweetheart.
Yes, I mean, that is the sweetest little dog. But this dog was just, I mean, she's probably 8 to 10 weeks old.
Oh.
And has just, from day one, she has lived a life of neglect. And she has, in fact, people have commented and sent me messages. They said, we have never seen a case of mange as bad on a dog as this one has got. But, you know, with it being hot here right now, the shelter just was not a adequate place to rehabilitate her.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, she doesn't need to be in the hospital because she's fine. She just has to be treated, kind of given an environment where she can rehabilitate. Mm-hmm. So I said, bring her to my house. So with me now. Let's see, what else have I got? Guinea pigs. A man brought some guinea pigs by the animal shelter, and he said, I'd like these euthanized. Thankfully, the animal control officers called me and said, we've got these guinea pigs. This man wants them euthanized. I said, don't kill anything. Bring them to my house. I've got 2 guinea pigs that live here with me, but it's fun. It's what I do. You know, if I've been put on this earth just to ensure that a few animals get a better life, what a privilege that is for me. And I mean, I consider it such a privilege to be able to do that. And it's something that I enjoy. But every dog is special. Every cat is special. Every chicken, horse, goat, you know, hog, whatever. Yesterday I was out cutting on the tractor, and I live on a farm here, and I ran over a nest of mice. Now, thankfully, the mower just went over them. I was cutting some hay, which was being cut high, so none of them were hurt. And, you know, this morning I went out and checked on the nest of mice. God bless. You know, their life counts too. So it's just, you know, each and every day we get dogs in and we get cats in, and every one of them have a story, and every one of them are deserving of a story. And we do everything that we possibly can to make their stories the absolute best that they can be.
Mm-hmm. For those wanting to read more, also about Sweetheart, that sweet little puppy that he's taking care of right now, we will go ahead and, you know, put her links to her campaign in the show notes in the blog so that you can go ahead and take a look, because she really could use some help.
Yeah, and I love that. I mean, she's in your kitchen right now. You're just
She is got it made. I'll tell you. I mean, I thought about it. I said, you know what? I'd love to lay here for a whole day and just have somebody bring me food and love on me. But
right,
she's had a tough life so far, and we're going to do everything we can to give her her best life possible.
I love that. Well, and you kind of touched on something that I think maybe not a lot of people understand, and that's that these animal shelters a lot of times are not equipped to deal with like medical cases.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you assume that if you're taking, like, if there's a like city run or like facility, that you should have someone there that's like, okay, we're taking this animal in and we're going to treat everything they need and take really great care of them. But in a lot of cases, I mean, they do have such extreme medical conditions or like require pricey surgeries, so it's not always possible.
Mm-hmm.
Very true. Very true. Yep. Great point.
Yeah, no, I mean, and that's where I love our rescue partners, because they're like, in a lot of cases, I can only imagine being someone that works at a shelter, because it has to feel so hard, like taking an animal and being like, I have no idea what to do. I have no resources. Like, and what about, like, this is an animal's life in my hands. Mm-hmm. And the only thing I can do is basically stick them in a kennel and feed them. Like, that's all I can do. In a lot of cases, that's where you hear about like these animals with like broken bones, and they heal over and they cause issues down the road and all these things. And people talk about these shelters negatively because of that, but it's like, well, there's no vet on staff. Like, you want them to just wing it? Like, that's not okay.
That's exactly right. That's such a great point. Very true.
You're right, Bridge. I didn't even think about that. But working in a shelter like that perhaps doesn't have the resources, you probably go through moments where you just feel so alone. And Brandon, you touched based on it, how, that's your main mission, is to make sure that, your shelter partners and people out there who are trying to help animals don't ever feel like they have to do it on their own, that they do have support systems out there. I feel like it's such common sense to think that, they do feel alone at times and they feel like they can't do anything. But there are, resources out there. There's, your wonderful organization. There's, people out there who are standing behind them. So I think for anyone out there who's working in a shelter and you just, you feel a little lost, or you feel like you can't do, everything that you need to do, there's people out there that are going to help you. I don't know who needs to hear that, but I want to say that for whoever's out there.
That's such a great message. And once again, it's not easy. And every day is not, let me go to the animal shelter and just call it a great day. It doesn't work that way. And unless you've done it, you don't understand the heartbreak. You don't understand the agony sometimes. But once again, and I just as you just did, Sid, I encourage everybody, please remember, for every tear you shed, you'll laugh 5 times. And, make it through those tough days. Keep moving forward. Always remind yourself there is work that has to be done. I am important in this cause. I serve a purpose, and I have to continue.
This is not your full-time job. You have work other than this, right?
Oh, that's right. Sometimes I need a reminder of that, but yes, that is exactly right. I'm in the new automobile business, and I own and operate new car dealerships. And thankfully, I have a fantastic team at each and every dealership, from managers all the way down, that are so supportive of this effort as well. And,
incredible.
It's great to have everybody believing in the same cause. They're all passionate about it. And a lot of times I incorporate the animal rescue with things that we're doing there at the dealership. And it just goes hand in hand, and it's fantastic. And it's a lot of fun as well.
That's so funny too, that you're so committed to transportation in general.
Exactly. Hey, we'll keep you riding. If you got 2 legs or 4 legs, we'll give you a ride.
Right?
Yep.
Well, and so how many animals are in your home right now?
Gosh, I've got 2 guinea pigs. I've got a little Jack Russell. Well, he's not little. He's fat as a mole and absolutely rotten. His name is Nudie. And I've got Macy, the little puppy that you guys have been so kind enough to do the campaign for. So it's 5 of us if you include myself. So
nice. Yep. Well, I do have one more question before we do some maybe fun questions, actually, because you've been doing this for 9 years, and I mean that is no short amount of time, certainly. So for those organizations that are just kind of getting off the ground, I mean, I think you've already touched on some points that really helped you and along the way. Especially, I loved your point about how you're going to wild personalities, and you're going to have to sort through those. But what would be your one piece of advice? Maybe if you could give yourself 9 years ago one piece of advice.
It's very basic, but I would say the moment that people become the priority, that is the moment that you're going to fail. Animals have to remain and have to be the top priority. They are what this calls us for. They are what the money is given for. They are what the volunteers are working for. It has to be about the animals. It's not about people. It's not about power. It's not about position. It has to be about cooperation. It has to be about excitement, energy, all centered and all focused around the animals. That is the core of it. That is why we do what we do. And the minute that it becomes about a person, that is when you are going to fail.
That's so true. I love that.
Definitely.
Yep.
Well, so let's, we have a couple little fun questions. So I would assume you would maybe do this. You said your Jack Russell's name is Nudie?
Yeah, his name is Nudie. Yes, you name it best, but it fits him, I can assure you.
Well, so I assume you would make these to maybe be about him, but certainly feel free to sub whoever and you need to. But if your dog was president, what would be the first thing he did?
Take a nap.
Yes.
That sounds wonderful.
Yep.
That does sound great.
Yep.
Okay. And so what's one trick? It's a he?
Yes, it's a he.
Okay. What's one trick he taught you?
I mean, gosh.
You already said he's the boss in the house.
Well, okay, this is not a trick. This is more like a handicap, but he doesn't know how to go up and down stairs. He will get to the bottom to get inside our house. Our front porch has got 4 steps, and they're just brick steps that you step up. It's simple. It's just 4 of them. Most dogs can bounce right up them. Probably the guinea pigs could go up them at this point. Nudie, he stands at the bottom and he goes back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And he cannot get up these steps to save his life. And he looks so funny because possibly someone cut his ears off. So he's got this long nose and these little bitty ears. And Nudie's had a tough life, until he hit the dog lottery and moved in with me. But,
took over your house.
Yeah, exactly. But now when he goes down the steps, he no longer attempts to walk down them. He gets on the first step and just leaps off the porch. He's attempting to fly. And the other morning he leaped off the porch and the wind must have caught him right, and he landed right on top of the shrubbery. So, so he is a mess on his best day. But Nudie loves going to the dealerships. He loves running around the showroom and seeing people and going and finding his favorite corner in whatever dealership he's in that day, curling up and taking his nap. So he's a piece of work, but I tell you what, I love him to death.
Oh,
that's so sweet. Yeah, Sydney has a dog kind of similar.
Oh yeah, Benjamin. We bring him to the office and he just lays down, doesn't really move. He's a mellow guy until you leave them, and then he kind of gets a little anxious.
Yeah, that's right.
Right?
He wants
until
people
he's not around people.
Yeah, he wants people to be like around, but he doesn't necessarily
want to engage. He's like, I just want you there, I want you there, and I want me here. Let's stay here.
That is great. That's the only way to have them.
Right.
Okay. And then if you had to pick one life motto, what would it be?
It's better to give than receive.
Oh, yes.
And
that one.
Given outweighs receiving. I mean, 1,000,000 to 1 on any day of the week, because I'll promise you this. When you're given, you are receiving. And to be able to give, it is the greatest blessing in the world. To be able to help, it is a feeling like you'll never experience this side of heaven, in my opinion. It is so much better to be a giver than to be a receiver, or much less a taker. And once again, that has been the fuel that has ignited and propelled this foundation and this rescue forward. And I am so grateful to the volunteers, because to be a volunteer, guess what you are? You're a giver. You're a steward of what has been entrusted to you, and you're doing your best to make it better and make it as good as you possibly can. And when you keep the animals in mind and keep them as the first and most important priority, everybody wins.
Oh, that's so good.
Right? I like that a lot.
I can't agree more. Well, thank you so much for taking a little time out of your day and sharing a little slice of your life with us. It's really been so great to learn a little bit more. And definitely, if anyone is interested in following along on your Facebook, in case they are interested in one of these shelter dogs, we'll definitely include some, like a link in the show notes, and as well as our blog here, so that they can follow along with all the great things that you're doing.
That would be great. And once again, our Facebook page is Ruin Creek Animal Protection Society of Henderson. You can follow us along on Instagram as well at RCAPS, RCAPS _ HendersonNC. And we update our pages most every day, sometime every hour. And we're so grateful to all of our followers, to all of our donors. And thank you all so much for what y'all do. Everyone at Cuddly, to Sydney, we appreciate you so very much. And the only thing I ask, let's do this again. This was a lot of fun.
Right?
Absolutely. Aww. Definitely. Well, thanks again.
Yeah, thank you so much. We absolutely love talking to Brandon today and learning about his unique mission. It's so inspiring, and we're just so grateful to be able to help him. If you were looking to find out more about his organization, go ahead and check out our blog.
You can also find more on our show notes and follow us on social media at Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook at We Love Cuddly. That's CUDDLY. Thanks so much.